Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the second day of the Info Days on Horizon Europe. Today, we will be discussing Destination 2, increased autonomy in key strategic value chains for resilient industry. And in this session, in the morning, we will discuss the section on raw materials for EU open strategic autonomy and successful transition to a climate neutral and circular economy. We will start with an introductory message from Mr. Peter Hanley, the head of unit from DG GROW, energy intensive industries and raw materials.
Thank you, Daniel. Good morning, everybody. Our starting point when preparing the Horizon Europe work programme was the strategic supply of sustainable resources for Europe's Green Deal. Breakthrough technologies that will enable the green and digital transition will require significant amounts of a variety of raw materials, including critical raw materials. In 2020, we found ourselves confronted with the COVID-19 pandemic. EU supply chains were severely disrupted. There were shortages of products and prices were disrupted as well. This showed us that Europe has strategic dependencies relating to third countries, and the need for raw material supplies and securing the supplies of these materials became even more clear than it was before. As a result, the European Commission recently updated its industrial strategy and developed an analysis of these strategic dependencies. It showed there's an urgent need to increase resilience of the European Union's raw materials supply chain for metals, minerals, and wood-based materials through better access to resources and a higher level of sustainability. And this is what we've reflected in the action plan on critical raw materials that we came out with last September. We came out with a 10-point action plan which addresses many of the vulnerabilities that we have detected. Research and innovation is an important part of the solution. And through research and innovation programming, we can finance research on waste processing, recovery of critical raw materials, improving efficiency, safety, and the environmental performance of the extractive industry. And we have also calls on circularity of resources, recycling, and substitution. Indeed, the supply of secondary critical raw materials from EU stocks and wastes will be part of the projects under this first work programme. In total, we're going to be allocating around 300 million euros for raw material related research in the years 2021 and 2022, with around 13 topics and 30 projects to be funded. This morning, our experts are here to clarify and explain any issues you may have concerning the calls in Destination 2, which is about increased autonomy in key strategic value chains for a resilient European industry. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you very much, Peter, for your introduction. Ladies and gentlemen, we will proceed now with the Q&A session. I would like to have first some organizational remarks. The questions you can ask us through Slido. And there are three ways you can connect to Slido. First is the webpage of the meeting where that is available. Secondly, you can scan the QR code on the screen, or you can use the hashtag that is also displayed on the website. We will receive those questions and then answer them verbally here during the meeting. I will be answering the questions together with Milan Grohol. We are representing DG GROW from the unit of Mr. Peter Handley, and we are here to answer your questions on the 5 topics we have in this destinations. So please, the Slido is already working, and we are waiting for your questions, and we are here to answer any concerns you may have. The topics are already visible on the screen, so you can have a look, and we are here available and waiting on Slido to receive the questions. I received question number 1 on the topic developing climate neutral and circular raw materials, is graphene in the scope considered as a raw material? Can an innovative Canadian entity be funded as its technology, I guess, is essential to the project? Milan, do you want to start first?
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. So what is important is to understand the scope of the raw materials covered. Graphene is an advanced material which is produced from usually from fossil fuels. This is a bit a borderline in the all raw materials topics. So this is not a special priority for these 5 topics. Canadian companies are of course welcome to participate in the projects, but that's maybe a more general question regarding whole horizon. About the EU and associated countries, this will depend on the status of Canada to Horizon Europe.
Yes, the status of Canada as an associated country is still under negotiations with the Canadians. So that is still to be clarified in the coming weeks or months, depending on the negotiations. Do we have another question? Maybe at this point I can also mention that all the topics, the 5 topics here on raw materials, in the eligibility criteria, there is a clause mentioning that the project participants should be EU member states, associated countries to the Horizon Europe program, OECD countries, African Union countries, and countries from Mercosur, CARIFORUM, and Andean community. So these are the countries that are eligible to participate in the raw materials topics. Okay, I see the second question. I think it is not one of the 5 topics we have. Let me check in the work program. I think it's the topic from Destination 1. It's the topic okay, the question is about the topic in Destination 1, which is also a raw materials topic. The topic title is Reducing Environmental Footprint, Improving Circularity and Extractive and Processing Value Chains. And now I go to the topic, is mining waste needed to approach the coal? Is integrating mining into other processing waste stream of heavy industries applicable? As this is a topic from different destinations, we need a minute to have a look.
Daniel, I believe that there is topic 106 about the exploration, sustainable exploration, and is the balance between Horizon, between the social awareness and sustainable exploration technologies balance. So the primary target is to develop sustainable exploration technologies, and improving social awareness of exploration is an accompanying objective.
Okay, I see a question from Julie in the chat about the topic Resilience 01. That is, let me just quickly check. Ensuring circularity of composite materials. That is not a topic that we are experts on, and this session is not about this topic. So unfortunately, I'm not able to answer on the complex composite materials. That will be later today in the afternoon. And then I see a question about topic Resilience 0106. Let me just read the topic title so everybody knows. It's Innovation for Responsible EU Sourcing of Primary Raw Materials, the foundation of the Green Deal. And the question is, should secondary raw materials at all be included? The topic title just mentioned primary, but the call mentions also secondary. Secondary raw materials. Well, basically, one of the actions here is mapping the primary and secondary raw materials potential. So indeed, secondary raw materials are part of this call for the mapping exercise.
Yes, new exploration technologies can be used for mapping primary and secondary, for example, mining wastes.
I don't see any more questions right now in the chat. We are still waiting for more participants to write their questions. I see also in the chat the question on Resilience 0120. That is not a call from the raw materials part. So that is, we are not able to answer it right now. But this call will be also today in the afternoon. So please wait to the afternoon session. And I see another question from Resilience 0127. It's on the innovation radar. That is also not a call that we are discussing right now on raw materials. This will be also later today. I see a question, primary raw materials, sustainable exploration, study areas will be selected. Should the areas be in the EU? Can we include area from a third country with a minor role? Could you please just mention which topic are you exactly referring to in this for this question, so we can have a look exactly. I see a question on Resilience 0111. That is safe and sustainable by design polymeric materials. This will be also addressed in the session in the afternoon. Then on the Resilience 0105, the integration of the gender dimension in research and innovation is not excluded as a mandatory requirement. What do you expect there? Okay, topic 05, it is building EU-Africa partnerships on sustainable raw materials value chains. So this is a CSA, it's not strictly a technological project. So we expect much more interaction with the social partners and the NGOs, and addressing also social issues and sustainability issues. So that's why also taking gender in that dimension and also the socio-economic background is an important part here in this topic. This is especially important when you see the expected outcome. There is an outcome mentioned in improved sustainability, meaning environmental and social aspects in the mining and metal recycling sectors in Africa. So this current example could be addressed here. Ladies and gentlemen, at this point, maybe I propose we take a few minutes pause and wait with the replies, so we have more questions and then we can more swiftly reply to them. So we will take a few minutes pause from our side, wait until there are more questions, and then we can address more of them at once, because it is much more easier for us to follow after reading few questions and then answering. Ladies and gentlemen, we are back to answer your questions. I just want to remind you that we are answering the questions on 5 topics on raw materials. And these topics are resilience 0103, identifying future availability of secondary raw materials. The next topic, resilience 0104, developing climate neutral and circular raw materials. The next topic, resilience 0105, building EU-Africa partnerships on sustainable raw materials value chains. Topic 0106, innovation for responsible EU sourcing of primary raw materials, the foundation of the Green Deal. And the last topic, 0107, building innovative value chains from raw materials to sustainable products. I will proceed with the questions we have. So the question on resilience 0106, can there be study areas in third countries, example, Africa and South America? And I ask Milan to take the floor for this question.
Yes, the main scope, of course, is to strengthen the secure supply of the primary resources from the EU. But as the topic also covers the third countries mapping, it can be a marginal part of the proposed projects.
Okay, thank you, Milan. Another question to the same topic. We need to study areas with critical raw materials, but for the social science, critical is not mentioned. How to understand the difference?
Well, the focus is on critical raw materials in this topic. Of course, some materials are allowed, but social part covers, of course, other materials as well. Especially because critical raw materials are in many cases byproducts or co-products. So, but social part is not treated specifically in this topic.
Okay, I see a next question also related to the same topic. Sorry, it's not easy to navigate. Just trying to find. Okay, so another topic, resilience 0107. Should the focus be on primary raw materials production in the EU or on manufacturing?
This topic
sorry,
is... Yes?
Sorry, Mila, I did not finish, just because the screen disappeared. Or on manufacturing industries in the EU? That's the full question.
No, this is a specific topic which covers the whole value chain, from raw materials production until the product. For example, from rare earths extraction until magnets, or even further to motors, for example. So everything is equally important. That's how the topic is called, building innovative value chains from raw materials to sustainable products. There is no bigger importance for any part of the value chain. It has to be just the integration of the value chain.
Okay, and Milan, there is a second question to the same topic. How developed the business case should be in the proposal? An outline or something more developed?
Well, these are the projects which should finish at the technology readiness level 6 to 7. So we would need already quite good indication of how the developed solutions would be deployed in the future in full scale in the EU. So it has to be credibly shown that such a solution along the value chain will not be transferred to third countries immediately after the project, that it has perspective in the EU and it has perspective for more spread use in the EU.
Thank you. We have 2 more questions on the same topic. I will read the first one. The topic text indicates EU-produced raw materials. Does it mean sorry, because the questions change where there's more popularity, so I need to scroll. The topic text indicates EU-produced raw materials. Does it mean that only currently active mines in the EU are eligible?
The topic indicates the EU raw materials, current, future, or ongoing. It could be primary, could be secondary raw materials as well. It does not have to be a mine necessarily. It can be also the boats of the sources.
Okay, thank you. So, and the next question was, what does it mean exactly? Increase the EU raw material supply capability and added value? For the same topic.
Yes. What we want is to fill the gaps in the value chain from raw materials until the products. If we miss primary or secondary production, or we miss part of processing or refining capacity, or we want to strengthen any of these chains, or we would like to improve the metallurgy part or final products part. I mentioned the case of magnets. We are weak in all parts of the chain, so we want to strengthen the parts of the value chains. At the same time, we have some producers in the EU who exist. This could apply, of course, for many different types of materials.
Thank you. And another question for the same topic: how the commitments of the industrial partners after the end of the project should be presented in the proposal in order to be valid?
Well, it has to be clear that there is a clear plan from the project partners in case of success to continue development of these solutions and integrating the value chains in the EU. What we are not interested are the projects which will finish at technology level 6 or 7, and they just ask for another funding. What we are interested is to see clear plan for future deployment on the market. And it's very clear from these proposals usually where there is the intention is genuine, or it's a research interest rather than industrial interest.
Thank you, Milan. I don't see further questions for topic 07. So I propose we go to top questions on topic 06, innovation for responsible EU sourcing of primary raw materials, the foundation of the Green Deal. And for this topic, we have a questions. What is the logic link between identify mineral resource and inform new discovery? Is inform new discovery the main output, or both important?
Both are important. There is it's very important to to use the exploration and geological understanding to find resources and use them in the future. Otherwise, it would make no sense to do that, or at least to understand if under which conditions they can be used or not. So that's very important. It's not only to identify, it's also to classify them, to understand what is their potential.
Thank you, Milan. We have two more questions on the same topic. And the first one is, there are several types of ore deposit containing critical minerals. Should one project focus on one type of deposit or several types?
This is for the project to choose. That's The main focus is on critical raw materials, could be also different materials, of course, and even the same materials appear in different geological setups. So it's for the projects to justify the scope. If it's too big, it will not be considered credible. If it's too small, the impact may not be good enough. It's a research and innovation action at ending at TRL 3 to 5. So here it's more really to challenge the community to propose something new.
Okay, I see another question for the topic 06. For the social awareness action, I guess you mean the CSA on Africa, only raw material mentioned, the word critical not. This is different from exploration actions focusing on CRMs. I guess the question is on the difference of raw materials mentioned in one topic and in the other one, the critical raw materials.
Well, for the action 0105 on Africa partnership, the topic says that in the expected outcomes that we look for increasing access to primary and secondary raw materials, in particular critical raw materials for the EU industrial value chains and strategic sectors. So different materials are covered, but focus is on critical raw materials. Again, justification of targeted raw materials is needed.
Okay, thank you. Then I think we will move to the topic 0104, developing climate neutral and circular raw materials. And I see the question. The call mentions different end-of-life products to recover raw materials from. To what extent is it desired to have more types of waste covered in the same project?
Well, again, it's a question of focus and depth of the projects versus coverage. The call topic says that at least one of the targeted waste streams has to be covered. Anything from waste electrical and electronic equipment, batteries, wood-based panels, multi-material paper packaging, end-of-life tires. Finish again tier levels 6 or 7. So it's a choice of the consortium to focus if it makes sense, or go wider again if it makes sense based on the technologies proposed. Okay, so that has to be justified. Both approaches have a chance to succeed.
Okay, thank you. And I see we have at least 3 more questions on this topic. So I proceed with the first one. Is it mandatory integrating critical raw materials in this topic? Can any material derived from fossil sources be included in this topic?
Again, the same question for almost for all topics on raw materials. What is in scope is the metals, industrial minerals, wood and rubber-based products, construction and forest-based raw materials. Particularly critical raw materials are highlighted. So that's something which is present in also in this topic, and it can have the focus on based on the logic of the individual projects. I'm not sure I got the second part of the question.
Do you want me to repeat?
Yes, please. The fossil fuels, right? That was.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. I can maybe repeat it. Just can any material derived from fossil sources be included in this topic?
Well, there are different materials which are derived sometimes from fossil sources or from natural sources. For example, graphite can be synthetic from oil or coal, or it could be natural graphite, which is on the list of critical raw materials. So these are 2 different things. We are not targeting the fossil fuels. This is definitely not a priority for raw materials topics. We are trying to divert from fossil fuels or fossil sources.
Okay, thank you. Then the next one, is it mandatory integrating, sorry, this one I already had. The next one, the same topic, mentions recovery of raw materials from batteries, but should projects aim to cover more recycling applications? For example, also minerals from urban mines.
Well, batteries can be in the urban mines. Urban mines is a very wide concept which is not well defined. We don't use it if we don't have to. It can cover actually all waste streams in principle. It's not a waste stream as such. Urban mine could be replaced by different types of waste, but it's not the term which we use in this in our calls, especially not in this one to define the waste streams. We have very clear waste streams defined in this topic, and the consortium can choose which of them will be targeted. At least one of them has to be. So if you want to focus on batteries, that's all fine. But you have to justify how much what will be the impact of the project and the added value. Yes, please.
Thank you, Milan. We're still waiting for more questions on raw materials topics. In the meantime, maybe I would ask Nicolas to comment on a question that is asked in the context of the topic 04 that Milan just replied, but it's a more general question about the criteria. So the question is, should the project lead have a PhD or project-related experience is accepted? What about experience instead of publications? If Nicolas, you are ready to comment at this point.
Thank you, Daniel. No, absolutely not. There are no such conditions. We just assess the quality of the consortium as a whole. And especially in industrial areas, a PhD may not prove that much. Other things matter far more. Also, in passing, I can mention that we will cover questions related to advanced materials, most of the other topics of this destination at the session at 2:30 p.m. today. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Nicolas. We have a question that I think relates to the topic. I'm just looking towards the exact name. I think we have a question that relates to the topic innovation for responsible EU sourcing of primary raw materials, the foundation of the Green Deal. And the question is, primary raw materials, sustainable exploration, study areas will be selected. Should the areas be in the EU? Can we include area from a third country with a minor role?
I think we had similar question related to exploration in Africa. Yes, theoretically yes. The focus is on the EU, however. So the primary target is the EU. Anything extra is possible.
Okay, thank you very much. I don't see any new questions strictly relating to the topics on raw materials. As Nicolas mentioned, the topic on advanced materials will be addressed later. Just looking if there is any new question coming on the 5 topics on raw materials. I don't see anything new in the chat. We still have time for your questions, so please don't hesitate. Okay, I don't see any updates on Slido. Just please remember that the questions we are answering are from the Resilience 01, 03 up to Resilience 01, 07. These are the 5 topics on raw materials that we cover in this session. I see a question, yes, on the topic 0106, which is the innovation for responsible EU sourcing of primary raw materials, the foundation of the Green Deal. And the question is, for resource survey, do we need to include global resource or mainly on EU source?
Again, what we are targeting is the EU, but we also mentioned the mapping for the third countries as well. What is important in this topic is really that the information, the data which we get will be classified properly according to the United Nations classification framework for resources, and that we get the information from, especially from the EU.
Okay, thank you very much. So we are waiting for more questions. More on the 5 topics on raw materials. I see also a question. That is related to Resilience 0129 on SMEs. I just want to mention that this will be covered in the session after this session on raw materials. So please wait for the next session and pose your question in that session. And I don't see new questions on the raw materials topics. We still have some time. Okay, maybe we can proceed with a more general question, and I ask Nicholas Delianakis to answer it. The question is, some topics claim, while excluding industrial competitors from countries where the IPR safeguarding is not guaranteed, are they totally excluded?
Thank you, Daniel. Indeed, that pertains to the topics that we will cover at a later session that is on advanced materials at this afternoon. But as it was asked here, and it is a general question, the answer is that no, they're not excluded. This is, if you like, a soft criterion. We're inviting consortia to read the report to which we refer and see for themselves whether the business case and exploitation plan they will propose is compatible with the partners whom they want to include. So this is not about excluding partners or countries as an eligibility condition. That is why it appears in the scope and not as an eligibility condition. So it will be evaluated under impact. And of course, in international cooperation, there are both benefits, advantages, and disadvantages. So it is for the consortium to assess that using the report to which we have referred. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Nicolas. And now we have a question on raw materials, and it's about the topic innovation for responsible sourcing of primary raw materials, the foundation of the Green Deal. And the question is, the main topic is exploration of primary critical raw materials. Do we need to have a partner on secondary raw materials?
No, it's not compulsory, but again, it's a question of the impact. If you would like to cover the mapping also of the secondary raw materials, it will be helpful. The consortium has to be justified according to the objective of the concrete proposal.
Okay, thank you very much, Milan. And we're waiting for more questions on the 5 topic on raw materials. I don't see anything new in the chat for these topics. Maybe at this point I can mention, because there was a question on the SMEs topic, the session on the SMEs will start at 12:15. I don't see any new questions. So just to remind you at this point that we are answering 5 questions about 5 topics on raw materials from 2021. These are the topics resilience 0103 in the work program from 0103 to 0107. I'll just read out the topic titles so it's easier for you to check in the documents. The first one is identifying future availability of secondary raw materials. The next topic is developing climate neutral and circular raw materials. The next topic is building EU-Africa partnerships on sustainable raw materials value chains. The next topic is innovation for responsible EU sourcing of primary raw materials, the foundation of the Green Deal. And the last topic is building innovative value chains from raw materials to sustainable products. So we are waiting for your questions on these 5 topics. I don't see any new questions in the chat. Ladies and gentlemen, maybe we can wait 2 more minutes if there are more questions. Otherwise, we will proceed to finish this session. I see there is a new question on topic 06. It is the topic building innovation for responsible EU sourcing of primary raw materials, the foundation of the Green Deal. And the question is, should we focus on high potential areas and also some area which was underexplored?
Yes, that's the question of justification of the scope of the project proposal. You define what is the high potential area and try to convince the expert evaluators about your intention in the proposal. High potential areas are understood by different people differently. So this is for you to focus in the proposal. And less explored areas could also be high potential areas, even though they are not explored yet. So that's really in the hands of the consortium to define the scope of exploration projects.
Thank you very much, Milan. I see a new question. It's on the topic developing climate neutral and circular raw materials. And the question is, should business plans or cases be for each partner or for the consortium as a whole?
It always helps to understand how the partners want to use the developed intellectual property and what are their intentions. It makes no sense to make a follow-up for the whole consortium as such, because it's not a company, it's not a legal entity. So there will be some directions for individual companies in collaboration with project partners or differently. So that's something which has to be clarified in the business cases.
Thank you very much, Milan. We are waiting for if you have any more questions, please, this is the moment to ask them. Maybe I can say that the deadline for applications is 23rd of September. So you have still time for this. Otherwise, I think we will proceed to finish this session. I see a new question. It is on the same topic, developing climate neutral and circular raw materials. And the question is, can companies be included when they are established in a member state or associated country, even when the headquarters are based in a third country?
Well, the topic says that or the eligibility condition says that the entities, legal entities established in member states, associated countries, or OECD countries, African Union, Mercosur, CARIFORUM, and Andean Community are eligible. So that's it.
Okay, thank you very much, Milan. If there are no more questions, I think we will close this session right this moment. I don't see any new questions, so I think we will close this right now. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. I hope we answered all your questions and we made more clear what is in the work program and what we expect. So we are looking forward for your project proposals in September. And we hope that the project will contribute to the policy goals of the European Commission and to the European Green Deal. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. In this session, we are going to deal with a part of Destination 2 that explicitly addresses the resilience of businesses and society. We are going to cover 5 topics: resilience 01, 27, 28, 29, 31, and 32, the innovation radar, reopening industrial sites, innovate to transform, the technological and social innovation factories, and the social and affordable housing demonstrator. We have already had a session on raw materials, and later this afternoon, there is a session that will cover the rest of Destination 2, the part on advanced materials. But now we will cover these 5 topics. We have provided pre-recorded videos on those topics, and very soon we will open the floor, or rather Slido, for questions on those topics, and the experts who are here with me and I will do our best to answer your questions. These are new topics on the whole. We have not done them before, and they represent new approaches, new ways of doing things. So we are excited about them because we don't know exactly what proposals we will get, but we are certain that these are proposals that will make a large contribution to the overall vision of Cluster 4. In particular, they will make a contribution to the new European powerhouse. There is a QR code where you can connect to Slido and put your questions. So we invite you to do that now. And there is one other thing that I can say up front, because there may well be a question on it, which I'm anticipating. And that is on the topic 32, social and affordable housing demonstrator. The emphasis in that topic is on innovation. It is now a research and innovation action in the research program. But we must stress that the emphasis, the focus is on innovation, as you can tell from the scope and impact of the topic. And with that, we can begin to look at the questions. While we are waiting for the questions, would any of the colleagues, the specialists in these topics, would like to take the floor for a minute or so? Another thing that I can say is that if you have questions on the innovation radar, Owen, the colleague who is in charge of that, needs to leave us at 12:30. So please send us your question on that before 12:30 so that Owen can answer them. Now, Isolene would like to take the floor to say something about the innovate to transform topic. Isolene, you have the floor.
Yes, thank you. Good morning. So just a few words about innovate to transform. So this is a coordination and support action that really aims to support SMEs transition to sustainability. And what I would like to say that, we're looking for great applications, and we are not specific to any sector, so we are really looking for your ideas. So you will see that the call is quite open as to what we can receive as proposal. We are looking for high impact for SMEs with the provision of advisory services and third-party financing with consortia that comes from at least 3 legal entities from 3 different member states or associated countries to have really high EU added value. So that's it on my side to give a short presentation.
Right. Could you also answer the question on subcontracting of advisory services?
Well, actually, so I see there is one question which says, should the project help all types of European SMEs, or is it okay to target only some specific ecosystems, e.g. electronics or construction? So as I mentioned, it's pretty open. We are not limiting to a specific sector, but we are not forbidding also application to come with a focus on a specific sector. And as you can see in the call text, it will be also quite important to have a sound approach to the industrial ecosystem approach. So the 14 industrial ecosystems that have been identified in the industrial strategy. I see there is a question also saying that considering that advisory services can be very specific, are beneficiaries allowed to subcontract the realization of such services? So indeed, advisory services can be quite specific, but what we are looking at, I would say, an entry point is first of all an assessment of the innovation management capacity of the SME, and also where the SME is in terms of transition to sustainability, whether the businesses have plans actually to further adapt. For specific advisory services, I think they can be indeed subcontracted, but what we're expecting also is to leverage the expertise which exist in your region and also in other networks, such as the Enterprise Europe network, such as also industrial clusters under the European Clusters Collaboration Platform, and such as also centers for advanced technology. So the possibility to leverage and to provide cross-border expertise will be quite important.
Thank you. Easily. Now, before we take more questions, the questions that are coming on the Innovate to Transform, could I ask whether there are questions on the Innovation Radar 27? And there is indeed one already. What kind of activities are aimed in this topic? FinTech and agrotech are sectors that can be considered. Owen?
Good afternoon, everybody. The work program makes it clear that the focus of the action is on strategic digital and industrial technologies. The question that has been asked is, it says fintech, I presume it means fintech, and agro, as in agricultural tech, are they sectors that can be considered? If there's a strong digital element or industrial technologies dimension, they would be relevant. It depends on where the center of gravity is for those specific sectors, for the advances in those sectors that are foreseen. It's strong digital or strong industrial technologies dimension needs to be there. Second question I'm seeing here. It says, is it supposed to be an acceleration for existing startups or a venture building to transform innovators in startups spin-offs? There are 2 key pillars that are outlined in the work program text, and they are the venture building and tech due diligence pilot. Venture building is not about acceleration for existing startups. It's about building new ventures based on some scientific or technological breakthrough, taking that technological breakthrough, blending it with business expertise, capital in order to drive it forward, and wrapping that up in a new legal venture, a new company, a new startup. that will take that technological scientific breakthrough out of the laboratory and into the marketplace. So I would not say it is to be perceived as an acceleration for existing startups, the venture building side. The tech due diligence side of the action is more to help, for example, investors understand due diligence in terms of the technology that is behind an existing startup or spin-off, and also to allow such startups and spin-offs to demonstrate to investors the value of their technology that is underpinning their business. So in that case, the tech due diligence services pilot side of this topic would be for existing startups and spin-offs. I'm just checking the question text here. Yeah, I think I've covered the question as it was posed, the two questions. Thank you.
Many thanks, Owen. Now, unless there are more questions on the innovation radar, I can see that we are getting several questions on the innovate to transform. So Isolin is going to be busy. But before that, I'll try to address a question on social innovation, because that applies to more than the innovate to transform. So what is social innovation? That is a good question. There are many definitions, but what we have in mind are solutions that new solutions that are not necessarily confined to technologies and which serve society. So there could be new ways of working, new business models, sometimes applying existing technologies to new problems, as well, of course, as new technologies. So these topics, all the topics in this part of Destination 2 are in one way or another about social innovation. So they are essentially about new solutions that can help society and, for that matter, industry. It's not an absolute definition, and different people will give you different definitions, but I think this is one that works for the topics here. And now, Isolin, would you like to take the floor again and answer the remaining questions on the innovate to transform?
Thank you, Nicholas. I will, and thanks to all participants for your question and your interest. So I see there is a question saying it is stated building on the SME Alliance projects. Does it refer to Cosmicals and Strategic Alliance or other existing alliance? So you guessed it right. This is the Cosmical, which was launched in 2020. And so 2 projects have been selected for funding, and they will start activities as of the 1st of October, if everything goes well. So we will ask, well, selected project to build on that, and we will ensure the appropriate synergies. Then on social innovation, Nicholas, you answered perfectly, so I will not repeat what you have said. I see there is a question saying, can actions be related to an ongoing InnoSup1 project, for example? I'm not sure I fully understand the question, but when you look at the call Innovate to Transform, you can see that it builds on the very good and on the success of the InnoSup1 call under Horizon 2020 Innovation in SME. So it has been extremely well evaluated. So there is a kind of follow-up, but it cannot be the same proposal or the same type of activities. The calls are different, and here we're really looking for the provision also of advisory services, but also to leverage the expertise from also existing initiatives, as I mentioned, EEN, ATI centers, and industrial clusters under the ECCP. And it is also really focused on sustainability. We have a question on CSAs, and I read that CSA are sometimes quite political. Can clusters, business support organization, and RTOs form a consortium for this call? Of course, this is what we expect. indeed. And CSA are not, I would say, always quite political, if I may say. It depends on the type of instrument we need to use. And indeed, we were checking whether we would go more for an innovation action or a coordination and support action. But this action aims to provide horizontal services and third-party financing with no specific TRL level, and also with a high focus on social innovation. This is why we went for this coordination and support action, and any participant is more than welcome to join a consortium and send an application. I think I've answered all questions I've seen on innovate to transform.
Yes, and thank you, Isoline. Let us see whether there are questions on other topics, especially Innovation Radar, because Owen will have to leave us very soon. But please think also about questions on other topics. Shall we assume then that all these topics are very clear and that there are no questions and that we're going to get very exciting proposals on those topics? Or shall we wait for a few more minutes for questions? And in the meantime, of course, if any of my colleagues, the experts behind the topics, would like to say a bit more about the topics, that would also be very welcome. But we will certainly wait for at least a few minutes to see whether there are more questions. Maybe I could ask Ocean to say something about the social and affordable housing demonstrator, because that is indeed a new and important project serving the new European Bauhaus.
Yes, thank you very much, Nicolas, and good afternoon to all. Indeed, this project is new. It's a project about the focus is indeed, as Nicolas recalled at the beginning, on innovation. It targets a specific sector, which is social and affordable housing district, and the aim is really to come up with innovative ways of renovating such districts. And we really much welcome any proposal that will put a focus on developing and deploying and demonstrating environmentally friendly but also socially responsible ways and processes and technologies to tackle renovation of social and affordable housing in an integrated way, focusing on energy efficiency but also on other aspects, circularity, smart living and social inclusion, and to operate with the residents based on residents' needs. This topic is really much linked with the new European Bauhaus in the sense that it should serve as demonstrators for future actions targeting the renovation of social and affordable housing, but also going beyond and proposing some ways that are replicable across Europe on how to tackle such a challenge. I think that's what I could say at this stage, but I really much welcome any question. I'm available to answer any question on this topic. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ocean. And maybe I can say at this point that the topic 31, European Technological and Social Innovation Factory, is also about social innovation and complements the topic on the affordable housing. It is a more general topic, again, a new topic, which can also serve the new European Bauhaus. And it will be very interesting to see what proposals we will get for that topic also. Now, as I don't see more questions, what I would suggest is that we take a break for about 10 minutes and let you think about additional questions that we might be able to answer. And if, when we come back, there's still no questions, then we will close this session early. Thank you. Thank you. And after this break, we see that there are still no questions. So we propose to close the session early. But before we do so, there is one general question. And it is a question about whether Q&As will be prepared following the Slido questions. And the general answer is indeed, yes. We are collecting the Slido questions as well as our answers, and any questions that we have not been able to answer. And some of those, if not all, will appear in the written FAQs on the research inquiry service, which you can access from the funding and tenders portal. So all is not lost. If you cannot think of a question now, there will be opportunities for you to put questions, for example, through your national contact points, and for us to answer in due course. So with that, I would like to thank you for your attention and wish you all the best in your proposals in this exciting new area of Horizon Europe. Goodbye.